Good day, STEM 12 Thessalonians. So this is again Director RJS Olarven. I will be your teacher for General Chemistry 2 Module number 2 for week 2 of our video tutorial. So by the way, before I proceed with my lesson proper, so gusto ko muna kayong kamustahin. Kamusta naman kayo, Thessalonians? Kamusta yung pag-a-adjust nyo in this new normal in the education system? Hopefully, ay unti-unti kayo nakakapag-adjust na. For example, ng tulog, ng mga gawain. I know it is really hard and challenging for your side and actually for our side, challenging din to. Pero hopefully ay magtulungan tayo, okay? You students and me as your teacher and advisor, magtulungan tayo para maka-adjust tayong lahat in this new setup. Okay, because we have this objective and our objective is tuloy-tuloy tayong matuto despite of the situation that we are in. And speaking of objectives, so let us have the different lesson objectives. So at the end of this lesson, you are expected to know the following. First is the general properties of liquids and solids. Second is the two types of solids and their characteristics. And last is the relationship of each properties of liquids and solids with one another. And let us have first the different preliminary activities. And for activity number 1, visual analyzation. So on your module, makikita nyo dyan yung dalawang picture under activity number 1. But this time, that picture will be transformed into a GIF. So let us have the first GIF, which is a strider. So strider is an insect. Okay, and the question here is, why striders can walk on the surface of the water? So what do you think is the reason or the science behind why striders can walk on the surface of the water? So you don't need to have your research about why striders can walk on the surface of the water. Just your own understanding or let's say opinion. So why do you think striders can walk on the surface of the water? And second GIF, we have the clip, okay, the paper clip. And the question is, why the heavier paper clip can float in the water? So what do you think is the reason and science behind why a heavier paper clip can float in the water? So for activity number 2, this is also visual analyzation. So directions, below are two pictures showing unique properties of a solid. And you are tasked to analyze them and answer the questions that follow. And same thing, yung picture na nasa module nyo is now moving because it is converted into a GIF. And let us have the first GIF, which is a cotton candy. Second is a diamond. And the first question is, do you think these substances are alike? Yes or no? And second question, what makes them alike? And last question is, what differentiates the two? So what do you think? But at this point in time, you can pause this video for a moment and try to answer the questions under activities number 1 and 2 for the visual analyzation. So let us have now the lesson proper. So lesson proper, we are going to talk about here the general properties of liquids and solids. And for your module number 1, as you can recall, we talked about there the different characteristics of liquids and solids, okay, in terms of their properties, at the same time in terms of their particles. But this time, we are now focusing on the general properties of the liquids and solids. So it means that all the liquids and solids, they have this property, no exemption. As a general, these are the properties of liquids and solids. And let us have first the general properties of liquids. Okay? And the general properties of liquids are actually influenced by the intermolecular forces of attraction in a given substance. So when we say intermolecular forces of attraction, these are the forces of attraction that happens between its molecules. Okay? Molecules of liquid, for example, yung molecules ng water. So kung paano nag-i-interact yung mga molecules ng water with one another, these are examples of intermolecular forces of attraction. And all liquids, they are composed of molecules, and each molecules are actually interacting and attracting with one another, and there is this force called intermolecular forces of attraction. And it is said that the properties of liquids are greatly influenced by the intermolecular forces of attraction of a given substance. And what are the general properties of liquids? So actually there are 5, and the first is the surface tension, second is viscosity, third is boiling point, fourth is vapor pressure, and the last is the heat vaporization. So let us have first the surface tension. So what is surface tension? So surface tension is the property of a liquid to resist an external force. So when we say external force, there is this force happening outside, okay, outside, external, na pwedeng gumulo dun sa molecules of a certain liquid. But this property of liquids, the surface tension, allows the liquid to resist. Ibig sabihin, ayaw niya or hindi siya papayag na magulo yung pagkakasunod-sunod ng mga molecules, specifically on the surface of a liquid. And also, this surface tension is attributed to the strong attractive and cohesive forces between and among molecules, particularly as I've mentioned, or at the surface of the liquid. So take note, attributed strong attractive and cohesive forces, because each molecules are actually exhibiting and showing strong attractive and cohesive forces with one another. And now let's have the different manifestations of surface tension. So first, let's have the ability of water to hold a relative heavier paper clip on its surface. So this is actually part of your activity number 1. Okay? Number 1, wherein tinanong natin doon, bakit sa tingin nyo kaya ng tubig na palutangin sa kanya yung heavier paper clip? Well, the answer is because of the surface tension. Because of this ability and property of the liquid to resist this so-called external force. And second manifestation, we have the ability of water to allow striders to walk on its surface. And as you can see, dun sa paa ng strider, no, medyo nakaganon siya, and makikita mo din dun that the water is trying to resist the external force that these striders are trying to give or to put on the surface of the water. And the last manifestation is the spherical water droplets on leaves. Okay, and these are just some of the several manifestations of surface tension. And take note of this, that all these are because of the strong cohesive force between molecules. So the reason why those manifestations are possible, that is because of the strong cohesive force between the molecules. That is because of the intermolecular forces of attraction that happens between each molecules. And now let's have the second general property of liquids, which is viscosity. So viscosity is the resistance of a liquid to flow. Sa Tagalog, ginagamit natin ditong term is gaano kalapot or kalagkit yung isang liquid. Okay, and it is also loosely referred to as thickness or thinness of a liquid. Because kung gaano ka kalapot, ibig sabihin yan, the thicker you are, or kung gaano ka naman kanipis, ibig sabihin din nun is less yung resistance mo to flow. And also take note of this, that the greater the intermolecular forces, the more viscous the substance is. Just like this honey. Mapapasana all ka na lang, sana all may honey, sir. Di ba? Mapapaganon ka na lang. Pero kidding aside, take note of this honey. Okay, this honey, or the molecules of honey, exhibits greater intermolecular forces of attraction. And it caused this honey to be more viscous. And dahil more viscous siya, thicker din siya. Okay, and take note also that the greater the viscosity, the more slowly it flows. So take note din dito sa ating GIF na nakikita sa screen. No, we have here different substances na nagpapakita ng magkakaibang level nila of viscous. So just take note, the greater the viscosity, the more slowly you will flow. So ibig sabihin that the interaction or the relationship between the viscosity and the flowing is inversely proportional. Next is the viscosity of any liquid depends on the attractive forces between each molecule. So I've mentioned it earlier na yung attractive forces between the molecules of a specific liquid has really great effect on the viscosity of that liquid. Kasi kung siya ay thicker, ibig sabihin niyan compacted or strong yung attractive forces ng mga molecules at magkukos yan para maging thick yung liquid na yon, and thicker that liquid is, ibig sabihin niyan mas mataas din yung viscosity niya. And take note also that the viscosity decreases as the temperature increases. So bakit kaya? Kasi halimbawa na lang yung honey, isipin nyo, tinaasan natin yung temperature ni honey, what will happen? Diba, yan ay, imbis na siya ay maging malapot, diba, malelessen yung pagiging malapot ng honey. So, ganun din yung interpretation natin dito. Bakit habang tumataas yung temperature ay magde-decrease yung viscosity? Kasi pag tumaas yung temperature, ang mangyayari doon sa intermolecular forces of attraction between each molecules ay magkakahiwa-hiwalay sila or magiging lesser yung kanilang attraction with one another. And pag naging ganun, magiging thinner ka din. So that's viscosity. And for the activity, okay, so this is activity number 3 entitled Think, Think, Think. Okay, and we have here actually 3 jars containing different substances. So for jar number 1, it contains water. Jar 2, oil. Jar 3 is honey. And you are tasked to answer the following question. So for question number 1 is, which of the following is most viscous? Alin kaya dyan yung magre-resist sa pag-flow? And which one is least viscous? O yung tuloy-tuloy lang siyang mag-flow. And second is, which is thinnest? So alin dyan yung lesser yung intermolecular forces of attraction? And which one is the thickest? And last question is, what is the relationship of the liquid's viscosity to its intermolecular forces of attraction? So if you listen doon sa mga binigay ko kanina explanation na sinabi ko na Tagalog, sasagutan mo yung number 3. So what is this relationship of the liquid's viscosity to the intermolecular forces of attraction? So you can actually pause this video again and try to answer all these questions under activity number 3. Think, think, think. So next property, we have boiling point. So as you can see on the GIF, ayan, nagpapakulo ng tubig. So basically, boiling point, it is the temperature at which its vapor pressure is equal to the external or atmospheric pressure. So definitely yung boiling point has something to do with the required temperature para ma-vaporize yung specific liquid. And take note also that boiling point is, or that the boiling point of the liquid is influenced by the strength of its intermolecular forces. So take note, no, laging nandyan si intermolecular forces kasi nga these general properties of liquids are greatly influenced by the intermolecular forces of attraction. So paano to? Kasi kapag mas malakas yung intermolecular forces of attraction mo, mas mataas din yung boiling point mo. And the lesser the intermolecular forces is, so lesser din yung boiling point mo. Okay, because the molecules with stronger intermolecular forces have higher boiling points. Another thing is liquids with weaker intermolecular forces of attraction have weak attractions with one another. So therefore, their molecules can escape into the gas phase with ease. Mas mabilis lang. And their boiling point will be then lower. Unlike dun sa stronger yung intermolecular forces of attraction between each molecules, so magkakos yan para mas matagal siyang maka-escape or ma-convert into the gas phase. And therefore, yung boiling point in that case will be higher. So this is what I'm saying, that while liquids with higher intermolecular forces of attraction need more energy to overcome these attractions, and the temperature must be higher. Magre-require yan ng mas mataas sa temperature para ma-break yung forces between each molecules. And therefore, dahil mas mataas sa temperature yung ni-require natin, so it will also give a higher boiling point. And also, the greater attractive forces the higher the energy needed to increase the kinetic energy to break these forces. So as I've mentioned it earlier, na dahil nga strong and great yung attractive forces, kailangan ng mas mataas na temperature para ma-break yung mga forces between each molecules. So that's boiling point. And now let's have vapor pressure. So vapor pressure, this is actually the pressure. So kung kanina, temperature yun sa boiling point, this time, this is the pressure exerted by its vapor when in equilibrium with its liquid and solid. And also, it means that when a liquid or a solid substance is made to evaporate in a closed container, the gas exerts a pressure above the liquid. And what will happen is that the substances with relative strong intermolecular forces will have low pressure because the particles will have difficulty escaping as a gas. So definitely, the greater the intermolecular forces of attraction will result into a lower vapor pressure. Kasi nga, hindi agad makaka-escape yung gas particle kasi sobrang strong nung intermolecular forces of attraction between molecules. Next is the intermolecular forces must be weaker in order for that liquid to have higher vapor pressure. So kaya nga makita natin dito sa picture, no, dahil mas mababa yung temperature nitong nasa kaliwa, ayan, na container. So mas kakaunti ngayon yung kanyang vapor pressure or lower yung kanyang vapor pressure kasi nga strong yung intermolecular forces. While on this second, ayan, dito sa pangalawa na container, dahil mas mataas yung temperature niyan, at the same time, pag mas mataas yung temperature, ano yung sabi natin kanina, mas na giging weaker yung intermolecular forces of attraction, and the weaker the intermolecular forces of attraction will give the higher vapor pressure for that specific liquid. And the last general property of liquid is the heat vaporization. So heat vaporization, this is the amount of heat required to vaporize 1 mole of a substance at its boiling point. And heat disrupts the intermolecular forces as smaller heat vaporization increases. So kung kanina dun sa boiling point, so it is concerned with the temperature. Sa vapor pressure, it is all about the pressure exerted by that vapor. Okay, this time this heat vaporization is concerned with the heat that is required for that substance or for the molecule of that substance to be vaporized. And this is the picture showing the evaporation and boiling. So yung evaporation natin, it has something to do with the heat vaporization, while the boiling is for the boiling point and at the same time for the vapor pressure. So for the vapor pressure is less than the atmospheric pressure. So what will happen here, it will not form any bubble kasi mag-evaporate lang yun, nasa surface lang yung natatamaan ng heat. No, for example, nag-strike yung heat from the sun, so mag-evaporate lang yung mga molecules of water on that specific liquid kasi nga mas mababa yung vapor pressure kesa doon sa atmospheric pressure. While kung magiging equal naman yung vapor pressure at yung atmospheric pressure, okay, so under the boiling, okay, magko-form yan ng bubbles. At the same time, mas magiging mataas yung chance na ma-break natin yung intermolecular forces of attraction because equal yung vapor pressure and atmospheric pressure at the same time. And those are the general properties of liquids. And let's just have recap. Okay, so general properties of liquids, we have surface tension, viscosity, boiling point, vapor pressure, and heat vaporization. So we're done with the general properties of liquids, and now let's have the general properties of solids. And in understanding the general properties of solids, first is we need to know what are the types of solids. And actually, there are two types of solids. First is the amorphous solids, and second is the crystalline solids. And what are the differences between these two types of solids? So first, let's have the amorphous solids. So what are amorphous solids? So these are solids like glasses that are formed rather rapidly, that its constituent particles do not have time to align or organize into a more definite crystalline lattice. And when we say lattice, these are ordered array, okay, of points describing arrangement of particles that form a crystal. So itong nakikita nyo dyan sa screen nyo, that is actually a lattice, pero hindi siya crystalline lattice. So arrangement lang siya ng molecules of a solid wherein the unit of a crystal is defined by the lattice points. And as you can see, yung mga lattice points dyan ay hindi gaanong ka-organize. Kasi itong mga amorphous solids ay minadali yung pag-form sa kanila. And take note also that many amorphous polymers including polycarbonate and polymethyl methacrylate are tough enough, okay, to be used as armor polymers. When we say polymers, these are combinations of monomers which are structural unit for solids. And the question now is, what are the characteristics of amorphous solids? So there are actually different characteristics of amorphous solids. Number one, they have irregular shape. As you can see on the picture shown kanina, no? Irregular yung shape niya kasi nga minadali siyang nagawa. And also, they have short range order of regular pattern of arrangement of constituent particles because it really requires time para ma-form yung perfect arrangement of those molecules. But then, dahil kaunting oras na yung nagkaroon siya, itong amorphous solid, so irregular shape niya. And also, they are pseudo-solids. When we say pseudo-solids, they are not true solids. And they are super-cooled liquids. Kasi nga, nagpapanggap at some point silang solid, pero hindi talaga sila ganoon ka tibay na solid. Ganun yun. And they do not have sharp melting points and they are isotropic in nature. So when we say isotropic, this means having identical values of a property in all directions. And isotropic also means that these are materials that are useful since they are easier to shape. So madali silang i-form into another shape kasi nga yung kanilang particles and molecules inside ay hindi naman ganoon ka-regular. Okay? And last is they do not have definite heat of fusion. So those are the characteristics of amorphous solids. And now let's have the crystalline solids. And it is actually a well-defined crystal lattice. So as you can see dito sa ating picture, makikita mo talaga dyan na well-defined, organized, and talagang nagkaroon siya ng enough time para ma-form yung ganyang klaseng kaganda na crystal lattice. And also, the unit, okay, so a unit cell is actually the smallest repeating unit of the lattice. So yung lattice, ito yan, itong mga to. And a single unit, that is your unit cell, which is the smallest repeating unit of a lattice. So, matatawag din natin siyang monomer. And now, what are the different characteristics of crystalline solid? Number one, they have definite characteristics, geometrical shape. Because talagang maganda yung pagkakabuo sa kanya and yung kanyang molecules are really well defined. Second, they have long range order of regular pattern of arrangement of constituent particles. Nakita natin yung kanina sa picture. And third is, they are true solids. Unlike sa ating amorphous solids, which are pseudo-solids, this time, these crystalline solids, totoo silang solids. And also, they have sharp melting points. So, sharp, ibig sabihin niya mataas yung melting points nila. Hindi sila basta-basta natutunaw. And also, they are anisotropic in nature. When we say anisotropic in nature, this is the property of a substance to exhibit variation in physical properties along different molecular axes. So, ibig sabihin yan, this crystalline solid can be seen in a crystal, liquid crystals, or minsan liquid talaga siya. And also, they have definite heat of fusion. So those are the characteristics of crystalline solid. And now let's go back with activity number 2, the visual analyzation. So here, pinakita natin kanina yung dalawang picture or GIF, wherein the first GIF is a cotton candy and the second GIF is a diamond. Okay, and if you're going to take a look with their physical property, we can consider that these two substance are actually solid. Okay? But They are at some point different because of the structure that they have inside. Because this cotton candy is an example of amorphous solid, while this crystal or this diamond is actually an example of crystalline solid. And now it is your turn. So kindly answer activity number 4, modified true or false. Activity number 5, fill me out. Activity 6, analyzation. And activity 7, search me. So kindly read the directions and instructions and kindly follow it well. And for lesson in life that we can get for today's lesson is that if you are going to choose, do you want to be an amorphous solid or a crystalline solid? So choose. And I'm very sure that if you're going to choose between these two types of solid, you're going to choose crystalline solid, right? Because you don't want to be like an amorphous solid na magulo, weak, okay? And you wanna be or you want to be a crystalline solid which is talagang well-defined, shaped, okay? But it will actually require something from you. And what are this? So you need to be patient. You need to be patient because this crystalline solid requires time. It takes time. Huwag mong pangunahan yung panahon, huwag mong pangunahan yung season mo. Okay? I'm speaking in behalf of every one of you. Huwag tayong mag-settle for less because the best is yet to come. Just like what happened dito sa crystalline solid. It became patient. And then the best came sa buhay niya. Same thing in our life. If you're going to be patient enough, for sure, you will deserve the best. And if you have questions and clarifications regarding our topic or anything about your life, don't hesitate to contact me at any of this account. So FB account is RJ Solis Olarve. Gmail is disciplerj@gmail.com. Cellphone number is 0975705158. And just a reminder once again from 1 Corinthians 10:31, when you eat or drink or do anything else, always do it to honor God. Yung pagkasagot ng module and everything, every small things na gagawin mo, always do it to honor God. See you on our scheduled Zoom meeting. Goodbye and God bless. Stand 12 Thessalonians.